Hi, everybody. Before we get to another great interview, we could really use your help. IMDb, which is the entertainment database, recently named the Two Opinionated podcast one of its top 100 podcasts. This is a monumental feat for this program. You know, we're a father and son team out of a small town in West Virginia, have been doing this for about 5 years. There's 15 million podcasts out there. About 40,000 of those get to the point that they're listed on IMDb. Out of those 40,000 out of the 15 million, we were ranked number 82. Something that we're just immensely proud of. We're so thankful for our listeners, our watchers, our fans. Thank you so, so much. If you would like to help us out, and we're asking for it, please. It's easy. It's really easy. It's free. If you go to IMDb, that's imdb.com, look up Two Opinionated Podcast, and just take a look at the page. That's all you have to do. I mean, you're welcome to look at the cast, look at the episodes so you can kind of see who's been on the program. Do whatever you want. But even just bringing up the page, imdb.com, Two Opinionated Podcast, bring up the page, look at it. That helps us so much. So please, if you can do anything, we would really appreciate that. Our YouTube channel is MeisterCon Pod. Love to have your subscription there. It's also free. And you can also check out our website, meistercon.com, where you'll find almost 700 episodes, audio and video, available on there. There's also a terrific blog from Brett, and it'll let you know anything that we have going on in studio, if we're covering a convention, if we're going on location, anything that we have going on will be on the website, meistercon.com. Thank you guys so, so much. We appreciate you so much. I can't express enough how appreciative we are of all of you. We never expected to do as well as we have, and that's all because of you. Thank you so much. Enjoy that interview. Bye, everybody. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Two Opinionated. I'm so excited today. I've got actor Evan Rein with me. So welcome, Evan.
Hey, thanks, Michael. Thanks for having me. Good to be here.
We've been talking for like 10 minutes, and it dawned
Yeah.
on me that we're not recording. So
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, maybe we better record some of this.
Yeah. I think we should just go back and repeat everything we just said, and then we'll be covered. We'll be fine.
We'll be covered. As far as anybody knows, if I hadn't said anything, they just think,
Yeah.
oh, there we go.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
we don't hide anything on this podcast. So.
Okay. All right. Let's get started then. Let's jump in.
So, Evan, let's start this way. We were talking a little off camera about, your early days in acting, but tell me a little bit about what got you into it. You know, you grew
Yeah.
up in a town that didn't really have an acting community. So,
Yeah.
what interested you in the entertainment business, and how'd you go about getting into it?
Yeah, well, I think and I think this goes back to what we were talking about before we started rolling about that introversion, extroversion thing. Like
Yeah.
growing up as like a quiet kid, not really feeling like I belonged in a lot of social situations. And then just I don't know for whatever reason, and I think this was I can't speak for my siblings, but it always felt like our family was a little bit different. And I can't really put my finger on what that was. But I always felt like I needed and wanted some kind of outlet and something. And I was always inspired by watching movies and TV shows and my older brothers, even them, like watching them pursue their own creative paths growing up. So I think, yeah, I think I always just wanted to have that outlet. So as soon as I could, and I think, yeah, again, we were talking about this a little bit off camera, it became a thing of like as soon as I was able to get a driver's license and have a little bit of independence, then I started to find outlets to yeah to start pursuing this path.
Yeah, I think that's admirable because we're talking about the difficulties growing up in a small town that doesn't really have access to the arts, let's say.
Yeah,
So you know do you go find them somewhere fairly close, or do you have to move somewhere and get into it that way, which can be kind of scary if you haven't done it before?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I ended up there was a city close enough to where I grew up that offered community theater classes. So yeah, as soon as I had a car and my driver's license, I would drive after school and start doing, drama classes. And then I got involved. They always did musicals, so I started doing musicals. I didn't have any singing experience. But
Guessing you
just
could carry a tune, or else you wouldn't be doing musicals.
yeah, I mean, well enough, but I think also for the fact of just being a boy with a pulse, like there
Right.
just wasn't any boys in musical theater, especially in that community. So I think as long as you like, yeah, had a pulse, like they would take you in no matter what your singing ability. So I mean, yeah, I can carry a tune as well as the next guy, I suppose. But I think that was definitely an advantage of just yeah, just being a boy willing to
Yeah,
put some makeup on and sing in front of a crowd. Like there weren't that many of us in the area that
I
I grew
get
up in.
that. My oldest was a dancer growing up, and I just remember the dance teachers always just desperate for any boys they could find to
Totally.
help with that. And it's
Yeah,
just really difficult in a small town. You
it
might get
is.
one or
Yeah.
two,
Yeah.
and they kind of make do. But yeah, I'm sure that any type of acting in a small community is kind of similar. Probably mostly women.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I feel lucky because for that reason, because there were so few boys, the parts that, the great parts were always available.
Yeah.
And then just yeah, and
Well,
then
that could
you
help
just
confidence wise, because you're getting probably roles that maybe you wouldn't get if there was more competition. So
totally,
you get
totally.
used to being in the main roles. That would build my confidence, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it is a confidence builder, but then until you look at the reality of like, oh yeah, there's me and two other guys. So I mean, they didn't really have a choice here. So I mean, I guess it depends how you look at it ultimately.
Well, that's right. You got to look at the positive. Don't look at the negative
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, just keep the blinders on and just like, just keep telling myself that it's about my ability. It's my talent. There's nothing else.
We loved it when you showed up on Nancy Drew, an episode of Nancy Drew, and we were lucky enough to have Kennedy's been on the program.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, we've
she's
had a few of
amazing.
the cast from Nancy Drew. That was a we loved growing up. I was Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew, all that stuff. So
Oh
when
yeah.
that came out, I was like, hey, pretty good. And I love the way they brought in some of the older kind of young detective type of people, like they had the Boxcar twins, and they never did Hardy Brothers,
Mm,
but they hit on Tom Swift was on there, so it's a pretty
okay.
good show. It's
Yeah,
pretty
it seems like that was a missed opportunity with the Hardy brothers. That would have been
you would think, right?
yeah.
But
Yeah, and
maybe the plan at some point was to do that, and they just never got to that point. But
yeah, true. I would love to see a spin-off of that.
yeah,
Maybe, who knows? Yeah, maybe one day.
I don't know if because Hulu did a little Hardy Boys show.
Oh, they
Maybe
did.
that was the reason they didn't have them on, but it didn't make it. And I kept
Okay.
thinking, well, that didn't make it. Maybe now they'll do it, but maybe they didn't have the rights or something there.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, because yeah, Nancy Drew's a CW show. There could have been something
Yeah,
in terms of yeah, the rights around that. Yeah,
but yeah,
well,
we enjoyed you on that, and I saw you showed up on Upload too. Uh,
yeah.
I think we have had 8 or 10 actors from Upload on the show, but none of them are the main cast. It's always the guest.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I talk with a lot of people in Canada, and I'm guessing Upload probably films there in Vancouver. Is that
It
right?
does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's one of those kind of like Law and Order or NCIS here. If you're in that city, chances are at some point you're going to be on that show.
Oh yeah. Yeah. There was like I remember back in the day, like early days of Vancouver Film and TV, X-Files,
Yeah.
Supernatural, like all of the
Supernatural,
older
really.
generation actors I know,
Yeah.
they've all had some kind of part on those shows. Trying to think what else there
You're
was.
right. Most Canadian actors that I talk to, if they've been doing it for a few years, they've been on Supernatural for sure.
Yeah.
Some of them
Absolutely.
more than
Absolutely.
once, playing different characters.
Really? What?
Yeah,
I didn't know
because
that was
they're
possible.
well, I didn't either. But it was on for what, 16, 17 years. So if you had a role early, came back a
Yeah, you grow
decade
out of it.
later.
Yeah, they won't recognize you anymore. They
No,
probably even forgot about you by that point. Yeah.
unless you were just binging the show, and you'd have to binge it for a while to get through
Yeah.
that one. That's all. I don't
Yeah.
know. But you're right.
Yeah.
I've talked to a ton of them that, yeah, in there. They've been on at least once.
Yeah. Sometimes more.
You weren't able to get X-Files though. It's been a few years now.
Yeah, I think
I
that
came too
stops.
early.
I think that had wrapped up by the time I made the move out here.
Yeah.
I've been here for 10 years. So I think I missed the boat on that one. I don't ever remember auditioning for that one.
Yeah, that was probably
Supernatural,
around the time it was wrapping back up, when it,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Supernatural, I did try to get on a couple times. It was so funny because I think that was the first show that my brother Derek worked on. He works as a visual effects artist, and he worked on it for a few seasons, and he was always like, "You got to get on that show. You got to get on it." And I think it's like, yeah, for people who aren't actors, it's like it seems like there must be like some kind of misconception about how you get on TV shows. Like it's a lot harder than I think a lot of people think. Like
Yeah,
it's
I
not
think a lot of
just
people think like as a guest star, not that hard. And
yeah,
they don't realize there's like a billion people trying to get the same role.
totally. And even to get the audition, like that is there's so many the stars that have to line in order to just get the audition, let alone get the role. So I never made it on that one. I'm not sure if that show's wrapped up though. I assume
The
that's
Supernatural,
Supernatural.
yeah,
Yeah.
it finally
Till
wrapped up
then. Yeah.
in the last couple of years. It's
Okay. Yeah. So
because they had
yeah.
a spinoff that came out, but it only lasted a season.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is, it's difficult when you got a show that runs that long. It'd
Yeah.
be tough
Yeah.
to spin that on. Not too many spinoffs work when you
Yeah.
really look at it. Not too
It
many.
seemed people it seemed people love the two leads in it. I think I've never watched the show, but it seemed like people just loved
Oh
the
yeah.
show for those two guys.
Yeah. Yeah, and they
Yeah.
were
So that
good.
makes
They're good actors.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Not terrible. I saw did you do something with Zoe's playlist?
Yeah. Yeah. Like the smallest role ever. I think I had like two lines or something. like
No
like
singing? No, the
barely
whole
barely a
show's
day.
singing.
I know, I know. It was another missed opportunity. Maybe they didn't know. If they would have known my incredible singing ability, I'm sure they would have made a whole spin-off for my like one-liner. But
That's not a terrible day though. You show up, you say your line, you get it, you're hanging out on set for the day or whatever. That's not terrible. That's pretty good.
yeah, and I will say, gosh, his name is escaping me. The male lead in that show, he did Pitch Perfect.
Oh, I
Um,
see him in my head, but the name's not coming
yeah,
to me.
I feel so bad for not remembering his name, but he was the nicest guy. Like having just one or two lines and him being the lead, he was like he made sure to introduce himself
I mean, it's pretty
and
great.
was just so very nice. I'm currently Googling it because I feel bad forgetting his name.
I know I'm doing
Um,
the same thing. We're gonna figure it out. I'll
yeah,
race you to see which one of us can find.
Skylar Aston.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah, who is back in Vancouver, I believe, shooting So Help Me Todd.
Yeah, which is another
Um,
pretty good show. That's a pretty good show.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we were late starting to watch that one, but it's good. I think they're on their second season, I think.
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
they just started shooting this season two, I believe.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah.
I think so. So the new movie is it no miniseries? Is it miniseries or movie? Under the Bridge.
Miniseries.
Miniseries, that's right. So it's Under the Bridge. You're playing Officer Don. So
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about this one. What's the miniseries about, and what's your role in it?
Yeah, so Under the Bridge, new miniseries coming out on Hulu next week.
I know it's like I
It's
was looking at that. It's like we're like a week away.
I know it's coming up so quickly. And I feel like I barely had time to get excited about it. So I'm sure as soon as it comes, I'll it'll sink in.
I've got it
But
on my my list. I clicked on it, so I made sure when it came out we'd check it out. But yeah, it
Yeah,
surprised me it was coming that fast.
I know. And apparently there's so many shows premiering on the same day. I was
Oh,
just
really?
talking to someone, but it sounds like it's gonna be a big day for new TV. But anyway,
That's
yeah,
good.
Under the Bridge. It is a mini series, and the story chronicles the true Canadian crime story of the disappearance and murder of Reena Virk, um, who was a young girl, a teenage girl in the community of Saanich, British Columbia, which is on the west coast, not too
Yeah.
far from, just across the water from Vancouver.
Okay.
And yeah, it tells the story of yeah, of what happened with the girls that she went to school with, and ultimately what happened uh, with the story. She was bullied quite badly and ended up disappearing, and we later find out that she was murdered by a couple of her peers. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a really tragic Canadian story, but one that I think is kind of important for for the world to know about. It's amazing chatting with people in Canada. There's so many people that are not um, familiar with the story, especially
Yeah.
people my age and younger. People of an older generation, the ones I talk to, they understand right away and have remember the story. But
How long ago was what did it actually happen?
it happened in 1997.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's been what is that? 27 years.
yeah,
Um
yeah.
but not too long ago.
Yeah, yeah. So it makes sense when I do talk to people why a certain generation does remember it and a certain generation does not. Like when it did in 97, I was like 5 years old, so it
Right.
makes sense that
Well,
people
and we didn't, we were just starting to get cell phones. We didn't really have the internet yet, so the story wouldn't have spread that way. It would have been
right,
like word of mouth and newspapers. That
totally. Yeah,
a
yeah,
little different. That happens. I think when you get out of the internet age, a lot less people tend to remember something.
yeah, I guess that's true. I never thought of it that way, but yeah, it would have missed that entire internet sort of
Mhm.
generation.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
now if something happens, it's everywhere instantly.
Oh, totally. Yeah. There's no vo it's like the opposite problem. There's too
It
much
is.
information. Yeah.
We get too much and there's no filter.
Yeah. It's tricky. Yeah, I'm not a fan of it. And it's so I mean, this is a whole other conversation, but it's like it seems that there's a whole business around it now, like
Oh, yeah.
of just like stealing our attention and trying to trying to outrage as many people as possible so to keep them glued to their phones. But that's a
It's
whole
a
other
time suck
conversation.
if you let it be. You know,
Sorry, say it again.
I said it's a time suck if you let it be.
Oh, it's
You
so
you
true. I
can
just
whatever.
downloaded an app on my phone. Yeah. I downloaded an app on my phone that restricts me from using Instagram, and it's like it's helped so much because it's too easy. Um,
That's funny.
but yeah, but it's so weird that this is the world that I'm in now, where I'm like having to block myself from using my
Hey,
phone because
my
it's
wife does that. She puts herself on a time limit because
oh
she has
yeah,
trouble breaking away, but that screen popping up and saying, you've hit your time limit or something, that breaks the spell, I guess, and she can get off of it.
yeah, yeah. It's good. That's a good. I mean, yeah. Otherwise, it's so easy to just like
When you look up and half
unconsciously.
the day's gone,
Yeah, yeah,
and it's not
yeah.
very productive.
No, I think that's been the big thing for me is like, yeah, I want to be as productive as possible. And yeah, Instagram is not always conducive to that. So
Yeah. So
yeah,
so under the bridge,
yeah,
Lily Gladstone is in it,
yeah,
and
yes,
she's gotten a little more known lately.
yeah, yeah. And it's insane because like when I was working on set for Under the Bridge, this was like we wrapped like a year ago.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but before my first day of work, I get the call sheet and it has all the names on it for the actors who are called. And I have thing where I try not to look up anyone before I start working with them, just so I don't have any preconceived notions of
Sure.
who
Yeah.
they are, what they do. Just so when I meet them, it's like a genuine meeting and meeting them for who they are. And
I kind of
so
like
yeah,
that. I kind of like that.
yeah,
But we tend to overdo it, like researching and trying to
yeah,
prepare when it's
yeah,
probably better just having a regular interaction where maybe a conversation comes out of
totally, totally. Yeah. And I think for me is it was more of a practice of like I don't want to get in my head like I'm gonna have
it.
to be acting with these people. I don't want to be like thinking about like anything that like, oh my God, Lily worked with Martin Scorsese and like this
Right.
last, I don't want to be thinking about that when I'm trying to do a scene with her. Um, so yeah, but I'm glad I kept to that practice because it was great just to meet her, and I ended up spending of the cast, her and Daniel Dimer were probably the ones I spent the most time with,
Yeah.
and they're just wonderful people, and so just chill and open-hearted and kind, and made me feel welcome on really on her show. So yeah. Um, so yeah, I'm glad that I just like kind of went in blind and got to
Yeah,
know her for who she.
I may start doing that because I
Mm,
kind of like that. More
yeah.
genuine.
Yeah. Like would you do that for podcast guests or like for other
No,
areas
I
of
think just interactions. I think with the
yeah,
podcast guest, I almost have to
you have
go
to,
through that.
right? Yeah.
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 Just so, you know, maybe not if I was having a guest on that wasn't promoting anything, then I could just
Right,
ask
right.
questions.
Yeah, yeah, true, true. I guess that would be tricky, yeah, if it's yeah, for podcasts, you're finding everything out in real time, which would be kind of a fun experiment, but
I had it happen to me once when I'd had a publicist had sent me two guests, two separate interviews, but she set them on the same email. So I over time I had forgotten that there was two on there, and one of them we were still waiting to confirm a date. The other one had confirmed.
mm.
Well, I wrote down the wrong one. I got them mixed up. So I prepped for the wrong one, and then I knew it as soon as it happened because when the name popped up when they came on screen on Zoom,
Oh
I was like,
no.
"You're not who I prepped for." I didn't say anything. I just did the interview, and it went
Wow.
good. It went, good.
Wow.
But I was like,
Yeah.
I was sweating a little bit because I was like, I don't
Wow.
even know,
Yeah.
I didn't even know what he was there for
Uh,
because I hadn't
so
prepped for him.
lots of leading questions.
No, exactly.
Yes.
I did a very quick look to get the name of the project, and that
Yeah.
helped. And from
Yeah.
there, I just had an interview, and we had a
Yeah.
great conversation. It went good,
Wow.
but I
Yeah.
was sweating that one. So I know
Yeah.
I can do it if I have to, but
Yeah.
it's not my preference.
Yeah. I mean, I guess there is the safety, like I guess you could have rescheduled it. Like it's not like it's
I could have, but I
live,
hate
but
to.
then yeah, yeah, it would have been
But
a
now, if
pain,
it
I
had went
guess. Yeah.
terrible, then I'd have just fessed up. But it
Totally,
didn't. It
totally.
went good.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. I
Well, that's
guess
a good
if
testament
you
to
do
like
it,
your improv
800
skills.
times, it, you get used to it over a time because a lot of it flows very similar,
Yeah,
with the interviews, and it's usually I just like to have a conversation so we can talk about anything, as long as we
totally.
get the
Yeah.
project in there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not terrible. So
Yeah.
your officer, Don Gardner,
Yeah.
are you investigating the case? What's your role?
Yeah. Eventually, I mean,
Mhm.
I don't know how much I can say.
Well, as a fan, we want to be completely surprised, but we also want to know everything that's happening.
Right. Yeah. So how can I give you both? Well, I guess what I could say is, yeah, I'll just give like a more like general like outline of what this guy is
Okay.
about. So
Yeah.
Officer Don Gardner, he is, yeah, one of the police officers with the Saanich Police Department in the show. And of
I mean,
course,
that
Saanich,
seems to me like a very police officer name, Don Gardner.
Don Gardner.
That
It
sounds
is,
like
and
a policeman.
totally. And it feels very Canadian to me for some reason.
It does.
Like,
I'm not sure why, but it definitely does.
yeah. I mean, do you know any gardeners in the I mean, I can think of a couple gardeners I know in Canada. Is that a common name in the US as well?
I don't think it is. I know
Okay.
there's been a couple of baseball players. with that name, but that's the
Oh,
only ones I
okay.
can think of. I've never
Yeah.
met anybody with the last name.
Yeah. 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 So I'm like, yeah, I'm so pleased with the name. It's like that's one of my favorite parts of the character is just his name. But yeah, he's one of the cop. He's a rookie cop,
Yeah.
new to the police force. And I think, yeah, what I could say is like the town of Saanich, it's a sleepy town. Not a lot of action happens there. And so when this event takes place, this terrible, like shocking event, not only it rocks the whole town, but of course the police department, they've never dealt with anything quite like this in the past. So I think, yeah, for Officer Don Gardner, new to the police force, wants to be, wants to earn his place and wants to be respected. But I think we just see him a little bit out of his depths, a little bit overwhelmed,
Yeah.
trying to do a good job,
You're new.
but struggling. Yeah, it's hard. It's a hard job. I have a lot of respect. Policing
Heck
is
yeah.
not easy, man. So
Did
yeah.
you have to do weapons training for the role?
No, there's none of that. I didn't have any scenes where I was using a weapon actively. So there was, yeah, nothing like that. Unfortunately, that would have been really fun.
That'd been cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I would love to. I would love to do something like that. Trying to
Are
think. I
you
haven't really done.
familiar with a gun? Can you shoot a gun? Like I've
Yeah.
never shot a gun, so I
Oh,
would have to have
really?
somebody show
Yeah.
me. Yeah, never have.
Well, I grew up on a farm, so it was kind of part of.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was the guns were always around. So yeah, I've shot some guns. But I
You're at
haven't.
least familiar with how to hold it and that type. Because I know I've
Yeah.
talked to some people that play when they play a police officer. You know, they're like, yeah, I was completely holding the gun wrong, or they had to show me how to, so it
Oh
didn't look
yeah.
ridiculous. They didn't have to actually shoot, but they had to
Yeah.
draw, and
Yeah.
kind of hold it. And they're like, yeah, I was messing that up and stuff. So
Yeah.
if you never done it,
Totally.
you wouldn't know.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. No blame. No blame at all. But I think there definitely be like a distinction between how a farm boy holds a gun versus
Right.
how a police officer holds a gun. So I think I could use a pointer or two, I'm sure. I think there'll be some key differences, but yeah, for this show, no, nothing, yeah, nothing like that, at least for my character. So
That had to be kind of a fun character to play, though, because you're putting yourself in a situation where the character is probably uncomfortable in their surroundings because they're new to the force and they're trying to establish themselves. And we've all been in those positions job wise where you're the new guy and
oh
it's a
yeah,
little stressful.
totally. Yeah, it is fun. It was challenging, but I think a lot of that kind of stuff comes easy to me as an actor, I think too, because I still get nervous before shooting. I still get nervous even before auditions. And so bringing in that nervous, frenetic energy, it was just there already. I didn't have to tap into anything. It was just like, just whatever I'm feeling right now, just use it and let's go for it.
How long a shoot was it?
Um, when did we start? I feel like we started. I could be way off, but I think we started in January of 2023. Feel like that's when we started shooting the pilot. And then I think it wrapped around April 2023.
Yeah, that's not terrible. It's a little
Yeah, it wasn't
long.
very long. Yeah, for 8 episodes. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that was my next question was if you knew how many episodes, but I was going to guess 8. That's kind of the new normal. 8
yeah.
episode seasons. It's when I was growing up, it was 24 or 26, and
Oh
then it
yeah,
moved to 22, and then it's just kept going down, from there.
yeah.
So now it tends to be like, well, like Disney, some of their shows are just 5 episodes,
Oh wow.
and then it goes up
Yeah,
to like 8 to 13 seems to be the norm. But
yeah. I'm a fan of that though, because there's only a handful of shows that I've watched that have like those 22 episode seasons that I've actually gotten through.
and they're
Like I'm a
probably
fan.
comedies. It's
Yeah,
most
I
of the
was thinking
ones.
like The Office. Yeah, it's
Yeah, the
one of
ones
them.
that work are the comedies because otherwise it's if you're especially if you're trying to tell one story, you can have too many episodes and then you gotta have like filler episodes to kind of fill it out. I like the compact seasons except with comedy. I preferred the long seasons on comedy just because I
Yeah.
like watching them.
Yeah, they're just so fun. Oh,
Yeah.
Seinfeld. That's the other one that I like
Seinfeld,
watch
yeah.
like almost every episode of.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Um,
I think those smaller seasons, which they started because people were binge watching, which I'm still kind of old school. I like the week to week, so you watch an episode, you
oh
talk
yeah.
about it for a week, and then you
Yeah.
repeat. I mean, now you
Yeah.
binge, you can like absolutely love a show and you're done in a day.
Yeah.
Ah, which
And
is
then nothing
great,
to talk about at the office the
but you
next
got
morning
nothing
because
to
you're the
talk
only one
about.
who's
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. And you're yeah.
I
And
mean,
then no
I guess you
anticipation.
do have stuff to talk about, but it's only that one time, and then you're done.
Yeah, true, true.
And I kind of
And if
like
there
those week to week.
and if there's someone who hasn't seen the whole series, then you're like,
Yeah,
yeah,
you
no
gotta pull it
spoilers.
back.
Yeah.
It's like Hulu's been putting out Shogun. That's a show they got on there now, and it's kind of that limited series show, but it's week to week. So
Oh,
I think
oh,
it's 10
nice.
episodes, and yeah, it's just been releasing one a week.
I think Under the Bridge is going to do the same thing from what
Okay.
I remember reading. Yeah, 2 episodes are being released on April 17th, and then I assume only one episode weekly from
I
that
kind of
point
like
on.
that. I
Yeah.
do like the double episode to start though.
Yeah.
It's like you're watching a movie to start it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I do kind of like
Something
that.
to get you hooked in. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, and it comes out, I think, like Wednesday, right? Next Wednesday.
Yep, April 17th, next Wednesday on Hulu and Hulu on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Now, this is something that I don't maybe you would know this, but I've been trying to figure out. So Hulu is an American streaming service,
I believe so.
as
Yeah.
far as I believe. Yeah,
Yeah. Disney owns it. Yeah.
right. And so I've been getting questions from my Canadian friends and family. They're like, "Can we watch it in Canada?" And I always just assume that if you have Disney Plus, you could watch it, but I need to like
Yeah.
confirm that because
I'm not 100% because there's apps that are Canadian in nature that we don't have access to here in America.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
which was driving me nuts because there's some good programming coming out of Canada, which is not really an issue now because so many of the streamers are starting to pick up Canadian content. But
Mm.
up until recently, we just like until Netflix picked up Kim's Convenience, we didn't have a way to watch that here.
Okay, yeah.
Same
Huh.
with Schitt's Creek. We couldn't
Yeah,
get it when it first came out.
yeah.
And then eventually it made its way over, thank goodness.
Yeah, what a great show.
That show's
Yeah.
amazing. I always
Oh,
laugh because when it first came over here, I watched an episode and I was like, this show's terrible. These people are
yeah,
terrible. I'm not
yeah.
watching. But then I kept hearing about it. I kept hearing about it. And so I finally asked my wife, I'm like, you want to try it again? And she's
Yeah,
like, let's try it. So I watched
yeah.
the first episode again. I'm like, I still don't like these people. But,
Yeah.
but then we like, well, let's watch one more. And by the end of the second episode, I was like, I love these people so much.
Oh,
I was
yeah,
hooked.
yeah. Yeah. I need to go back and watch it. I remember just watching like handfuls of
Oh
episodes
yeah, yeah.
during
The whole
COVID with my
series,
family.
excellent.
Yeah, I got to go back and watch it.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good one to stream
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
to binge.
absolutely. And great Canadian. I'm like proud of our Canadian heritage. Like I think there's a lot of funny people in Canada. And so I think that show and Kim's Convenience too. I met
So good.
Andrew Fung who plays Kimchi, I think
Yeah,
in Kim's Convenience.
yeah.
And he and I were in Calgary at the same time. And I met him at the Loose Moose Theater Company, which is like an improv theater.
Awesome. Yeah, he's an excellent
And
actor.
he's so good. He's like so funny and so quick and such a great improviser. So I'm lucky to have at least met the guy. I'd love to work with him one day.
Yeah,
One
yeah.
day. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope you get a chance to because yeah, that show was excellent. It was
Yeah.
I really enjoyed watching that one. I like watching, like my wife and I, we've got this routine at night when we're done with dinner or whatever it is and stuff. She likes to relax in a bathtub, so I set her up in the bath and then I go and watch shows, and it's usually comedies that I've already seen because I'm playing on my phone doing other stuff. But if I've already seen it, I know, I don't even have to watch, and I'm still gonna think it's funny. Just listen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't
Sometimes,
do that
sometimes.
with Kim's Convenience. That one was an original, but I've done that with Seinfeld and Big
Oh
Bang,
yeah.
and just
Yeah.
Friends. I did that one, and
Yeah.
it's just nice to have that on. So that's how we kind of unwind in the evening. She spends an hour in the tub. I'll watch a couple shows, and then we get back together and
Yeah.
kind of end our evening. But I love doing that, and
Yeah.
comedies are the perfect thing to watch late at night. You don't have anything weighing on your mind when you're done watching them. You just go to bed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it lightens your mind. Yeah, I feel the same way. Like I feel like Seinfeld is like that show for me.
Oh yeah.
There are episodes that I've seen multiple times, and I'll rewatch just like clips of it because it's like I just find the writing and the acting in that show is so I think it's underrated actually. Like of course Seinfeld is a classic and people love it.
Yeah.
But like when you look at like even I don't know if Jerry Seinfeld gets enough credit for his acting ability, but I think like he is
Oh
so honest in his like
yeah.
in
He's
his
great.
reactions and his acting, even though it's like, simple, I guess, it's so real, which I think makes the show so funny.
And it holds up pretty well. I mean,
Yeah.
because they're using the big cell phones, and they
Oh
don't
yeah.
have internet, not any of that, but it still holds up. Like you watch it,
Yeah.
you can sit down on any Seinfeld episode and you won't be lost.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
just same with The Office. You can sit down
Totally.
at any point, any episode, and you're right in the episode.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So good. So good.
it's pretty great. It's pretty great. So, um, is there a genre that because you've been bouncing around a little bit, is there a genre you haven't got to do that you would like to do?
Oh, good question. You know, I would like to explore more comedy, I think. And it's an exciting year in Vancouver because there's a bunch of new comedy series being shot here this spring.
Exciting.
Um, yeah,
We need
so
we need comedy because it feels like the last couple of years, a lot of the really big sitcom type shows have ended, and I don't
uh-huh.
feel like we've had that many come to replace them yet. So we need
Yeah,
some comedy.
totally. Um, so I don't know. I think like I've done like Upload obviously is more of a comedic show.
Yeah.
Trying to think of any other like yeah,
I mean, Zoe's
TV
kind of
shows.
a
Oh yeah,
little bit of a
Zoe's too.
comedy. Yeah.
But both of those, both it's funny enough, both the characters I played in those shows were douchebags. Like they weren't really like comedic characters. They were more just like assholes that
Which those
yeah.
can be fun to play.
They could be fun to play, but not I didn't really get to exercise comedic chops.
Yeah.
And one thing I've been really I mentioned Andrew Fung and improv. Like improv is one thing I've been really getting into more and more in the last couple of years.
That's awesome. Improv's not easy.
No, it is such a discipline. And yeah, it takes a long time to get good at, which I feel like I'm still very much in the early stages, but love, love, love doing it, especially when it goes well.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
I had an actress on that there's a show on Hulu called Quick Draw.
Okay.
And during the pandemic, I found it on there and I thought it was new. So I binged the first two seasons and I'm looking for the third season. There was never a third season. It came out like 2010 is what so I'd missed it by a
Oh, okay.
decade, but I
Yeah.
liked it so much that I reached out to the guy that created it and had him on the show. And then he brought the cast on. So,
Oh, nice.
so I met Allison Dunbar's is the actress's name, and she wanted to come on individually. So I was like, heck yeah, come on. So, but that show, Quick Draw, it's all improvised. Like it's
Oh, really?
like the John Lear's the man that created it, and he set the scene. He'd have all that, but the dialogue was just the actors improving.
Wow.
Look it up. It's
Yeah.
good. So Allison,
Yeah.
I was telling her, I was like, I couldn't improv. I'd be terrible. And she's like, no, you could do it. So she was trying to teach me how to improv. So we're
Nice.
we chose we were going to be in the library. That was going to be our
Okay.
setting because my son that does the podcast with me, he's a librarian during the day. So I was like, well, to be a library. So we're having our little conversation, and the whole time I'm having to think what I'm going to say when she finishes talking. So that wasn't ideal. It wasn't just coming up.
Right.
But she was being
Yeah.
patient with me, and I'm like concentrating really hard trying to, and we're talking Dewey Decimal or something stupid. So I'm in my response to whatever she said, and I'm talking, and she just kind of leans into the camera and she says, "I love you," and it totally threw me off. I was just like,
And probably has so much like
it was
so
funny.
real, like probably delivered it just like 100%
Oh yeah,
honestly.
yeah, and she
Which
did
would
it.
which would throw me off too.
She did it intentionally just to mess with me, and it did.
Yeah.
But it was
Yeah.
hilarious. But long story short, I got a lot of respect for anybody that can improv because it's not easy coming up with things on the spot, just in a
Yeah.
situation that you didn't prepare for ahead of time.
Totally. Yeah. What I'm learning, and this goes hand in hand with acting too, but the less I use my brain, the better off I am.
Yeah,
So,
I understand
which
that
is like
completely.
sounds counterintuitive, but I think especially for improv, the more you're in your body and not thinking at all and just responding in the moment, the more magic can happen. And I think the same is true for acting. Yeah, as soon as I'm in my head, I'm dead. Like I have to be like, I guess brave enough to not know what's going to happen, even when working with scripted material.
Yeah,
So I think it's a good skill for even actors to get some improv experience because it helps with acting too.
yeah, I can totally see where it would be useful with that.
Yeah,
Because yeah, if once, because like I do that with the podcast, once I get into
Mhm.
my head just a little bit, I'm lost because I
Totally.
lose track of the conversation, what we were talking about, whatever it was I was trying to find,
Yeah,
all of it with that. So yeah,
yeah,
you got to be in the moment basically.
totally.
Just respond. Don't try to think ahead because that's
Right.
when you get in trouble.
Yeah, and I feel like there's something about that that is maybe true for it might be true for like all art forms. I'm just spitballing here, but I wonder if it's the same for like a painter who's like
Yeah.
creating a painting. I wonder if like I mean I guess I have known nothing about this kind of art, but like I wonder if painters find that too, if the more they're in the moment with the canvas. I don't know if that's the
It
same, but
is. I'm sure that's
yeah, yeah, possibly, yeah. But I
because
have a hunch
anytime you
anyway.
start
Yeah,
overthinking, it's
yeah,
going to mess you up.
yeah, yeah. And that's not where the soul is. The soul doesn't reside in the brain, I don't think. So,
No, I
yeah,
agree with that. I agree with that. Yeah, it's pretty. That's pretty true. Any
yeah.
any plans at some point to step behind the camera?
Um, Nothing concrete at the moment. I mean, I made one short film a year or two ago. And it was like one of the most gratifying creative experiences. So I think I would love to do it again. It's just that so to give you some context, the film that I made, it was a two-person crew. It was me and one actor, and that was it. That's all we had. And we had one location, and I shot the entire thing on my iPhone, had an app that made it look filmic.
Yep.
And so yeah, I wrote, directed, shot the thing myself with one actor. And even just that, shooting a one-page, 3-minute film was so much work, so much preparation. And I think that's what made the film somewhat successful is all the preparation that goes into it.
Right.
But the point being is that it takes so much time to make something of quality that I think if I were to do it again and of anything of bigger scale, it'd have to be the right timing because right now acting is just all consuming.
Right.
Just about every waking moment of my time. So I don't know. I'd either have to, yeah, like have a big lull between things I'm working on, or just commit to it and like clear the space to make it happen. But I
But
think
if
there's
you've
something
had
that,
if a lot of shows, if they're on long enough, like if you get a role on a show and you're on there for several years, they might ask you to direct an episode.
Yeah, that's true. That's
And then you'd
true.
have support, and you're already kind of in the role.
I would love that. I would love that. And I wasn't even thinking in that terms of like directing something that's already been written.
Oh,
I
yeah,
would
that's
love
true.
that.
Yeah, it's totally different
Yeah.
than creating your own.
Yeah. I would love to do that. I had not even considered that until this moment. Yeah, any kind of like behind the camera stuff I've considered is like, what can I write that I would love to do as an act that I could like put myself in as an actor and direct myself and like do everything.
I think
But
that's smart though. Create some of
yeah,
your own content. It kind of creates opportunities for you.
yeah,
Kind of
yeah,
proactive, I think.
totally. There's like the one example that comes to my mind and that has been an inspiration to me is I'm so bad with names. The guy, the guy in Ted Lasso. Uh,
It's such an
and
easy
his
name.
um, sorry, I need to look this up. Because Ted Lasso.
Yeah, I don't know why. The running man from
Oh,
SNL is the only thing I can think of.
Jason
Sudeikis, yeah.
Sudeikis. Yeah. So
Yeah.
he created a short film. I think it was called Thunder Road, and um, and it's just I think you can find it on YouTube or Vimeo or something, and it's just one shot. It's a beautiful film. It's like one shot starts really wide and then zooms in on him, and he's giving the eulogy at his mother's funeral.
Oh my gosh.
And he made the short film, just one shot of him doing this eulogy, and he turned that into, I think it's a Netflix movie now. So that short that he made, I think it ended up at Sundance Film Festival or something like that,
Oh,
and then it just picked up from there and turned into a Netflix film. Now he's, yeah, the lead in Ted Lasso. So yeah, I that's all to say. I agree. Like it's a great way to a great calling card, I think, for actors who, man, yeah, sometimes I feel like sometimes casting they don't get a real sense of what actors are capable of, and so sometimes you have to create that for yourself,
yeah, I think
and it's a
that's
great way to do
true.
it.
I'm friends with an actor, Ben Kodak, and he was a teacher and decided to go into acting and made a short film. And he just happened to be in a restaurant, and one of the guys from Sunny in Philadelphia was in there, and he
Oh,
got his
nice.
courage up and just went up to him and gave him the copy of his short film. He's like,
Yeah.
just he was figured that'd be the end of it. It They liked it so much that they cast him in something from that, and
Oh,
then he got a career out of that.
wow.
Now he's an actor. And I was like, that was talk about creating your own opportunity.
Yeah,
I mean, it just
absolutely.
you never
And
know.
like and seizing yeah, seizing the moment
Because that'd be
to
hard. Because nobody wants to be that guy that's
right.
interrupting somebody's dinner. And
Totally.
you
Yeah.
want to be respectful with that.
Yeah.
But he's like,
Yeah.
when am I going to get another chance? So,
Right. Yeah. And I feel like there's a respectful way to do that,
yeah.
where there's no obligation and yeah, but I get that too. So is he like he's a friend of yours from West Virginia?
No, he's not from here. He was on How I Met Your Mother.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you ever watched that show, but
Yeah, I've seen some episodes, yeah.
he was just a guest star. He played a newscaster that he was the naked newscaster
Oh, okay.
on How I
Okay.
Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
My son loved that show, so I was just trying to get somebody from that show. And he's the one that responded. So we had been on, and then we got friendly with that. So he's been on
Okay.
a few times, and we kind of got friendly. So we're not, uh, we haven't met yet. We're internet friendly,
Right.
I guess, is what you
Yeah.
can say. But yeah, he's a great guy, and I love that story. I mean, it's like,
Mm.
he's just like, I'm going to be an actor. I think I'll make a film,
Hmm.
and then he handed it out, and now he's an actor.
Wow. That's amazing. And was he in Los Angeles then when that all went
He
down?
was, yeah,
Yeah.
he was
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah.
He was just teaching.
Huh.
So I
Yeah.
thought, so he was late starting as an actor.
Yeah. He was like teaching high school or something like
He's
that,
teaching high
or
school. Yeah.
okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah. And not
That's pretty
acting.
cool. That's cool
He
to
was
hear.
like a business teacher or something like that.
Oh wow. Wow.
Yeah. He's a
Wow,
good
good for
actor,
him
though.
though.
He does. I think, there's a couple ways you can be an actor. The really, really good ones, they were probably born with that type of talent, just like in anything,
Mm,
athletes or anything. You're just born with it. But you can also train yourself to be a good actor.
yeah.
It's just a lot harder path if you got to go that way.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good question. I do wonder about that. I think I mean, I've also heard people say that everyone has an acting ability. It's just a matter of getting out of your own way. I guess kind of going back to that idea of like getting out of your head and just like being alive in the
But you have
moment.
to be vulnerable and you got to be
Yeah,
willing to look silly or
yeah,
foolish. And
yeah,
that's not easy to do for most people,
yeah. That's true. That's true. And I think that probably does come easier to some people than others.
especially like the thought of having to audition in front of anybody for something that you're not really confident in what you're doing. That's
Yeah,
kind of terrifying.
that is terrifying. Even like I'd say that that'd be terrifying even for like an experienced actor. Like I feel like half the job is like preparing so that you can be confident in what you're doing. Otherwise, like if even if the role is right for me and I'm not confident in like what I'm saying or what I'm doing, then it's just gonna be so bad. Like I
Right.
feel like 90% of acting is the preparation, at least for me.
Now, I think that's true for
Maybe
most.
yeah, yeah. But then
The
again, like I do have actor friends who are like so like
thing just turns
maybe
on.
these yeah, and they're just so charismatic and like so free and like barely learn their lines and they can like yeah, are like amazing to watch and so charming. So I don't know. Yeah, I guess it's just different style, different styles of actors out there.
Yeah. I had a actor on that had worked with Sam Neill, from Jurassic Park, and they were talking about his acting and that like he's just kind of on set goofing around and kind of he's the guy that makes everybody comfortable and he's just talking all the time, and then as soon as they yell you know whatever, act or whatever he just instantly turns it on. Like,
Mm.
the rest
Hmm.
that she was talking, like, I'm over here trying to make sure I know my lines and all that stuff. He's over just having a good time. They say action and he's right in character, no prep,
Uh,
just steps into character. And I thought, well, that's an experienced actor. He's just confident in
yeah.
what he does.
And I would wonder if that like ability to turn it on, I wonder if like how much of the preparation goes in that the other actors and crew don't see. Like I
Oh, I'm
wonder
sure there's a
how many
bunch.
hours he was at home, like making sure he was complete. I mean, I don't know. That would have to be
That's
me,
probably
but
what happens.
yeah.
And then he shows
Yeah.
up and he's like, I'm good.
Yeah, yeah, he's done all his homework. He's good to go. At least that would be me. I would not be able to do that without having spent, walked, the miles in the character's shoes beforehand and really felt confident with it. So, but maybe I'm sure there are like some super talented people out there who just like, yeah, can like, yeah, just like turn it on and like have that full confidence without even really
It's
preparing too
impressive.
much. I'm sure it exists. Yeah, it is impressive. I'm impressed by it for sure.
Well, so Evan, the show is Under the Bridge. It's coming out next Wednesday on Hulu.
Yep.
I'm very excited for it. I think it's going to be great. I love those type of shows. They're difficult to watch.
Yeah.
That's one that I would be following with a comedy, but I'm excited.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be really good. You got to have a
Yeah.
palate cleanser before you try to go to bed after that one.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think it will be one of those shows. So yeah, make sure you have your
I'll have my
Seinfeld and
Seinfeld
your
episode dialed up.
yeah, ready to go right after.
So, Evan, a couple things before we wrap up. Anything else that you're working on that we can keep an eye out for?
Nothing project wise. Yeah, I've been busy with publicity for this show in the last few weeks.
Yeah.
So yeah, more just yeah, this kind of stuff. Trying to do as many yeah, trying to get the word out as much as possible.
That's
Yeah, in terms
exciting.
of
That's a
project,
big role on a big project. That's exciting.
yeah, yeah, I feel very lucky. Like yeah, I'm very grateful for it and excited to see how people receive it for sure. And then in terms, yeah, I'm just like, as soon as the show opens and premieres and everything, I'm kind of back to, back to square one, like hitting the ground running, auditioning, and trying to find my
Life
next
of an
gig. So
actor.
absolutely, it never ends.
So I know you try to avoid getting on there too much, but what's your where can we find you on social media?
Yeah. So Instagram is the one that I use the most,
Yep.
and you can find me there at Evan Rein. That's at EvanRein. And I'm on the other ones too. Like I've got an X account,
We've all
but
got them, whether or not
we've
we
all
use
got them.
them.
Yeah. You can find me on X and follow me, but you're not going to see anything on there.
Well, we all have that. Our X accounts are just so we can kind of see what kind of drama is going on.
Oh yeah, that's 100% what I use it for. Absolutely. Yeah.
Or, if something happens in the world, that's usually you jump on there to see what people are saying about it.
Yeah. Yeah. See what kind of dirt people
That's it.
are digging up. Yeah.
Instagram's the nice one because there you're just posting your pictures, what you had for dinner, that type of what you're working on. It's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
the nice one.
It is a nice one, which is why I find it so addictive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you got to limit yourself.
Yeah. That's why I've got this app. For anyone interested, what is the name of this app? It's so great. Opal, Opal.
Yeah, I haven't
And it,
heard.
like
We'll write it down though.
you can set you can set what days and what hours you want it to be blocked, and it just like blocks it. You can't open the app. And you can add any app. You can add Instagram. You can even add your email. Anything that takes up too much of your time, you can add it to this app.
Isn't it
So
funny that
I just downloaded.
we have to artificially stop ourselves because we don't have the self control to do it?
It's so true. It's so true. Well, I don't know if you ever read the book Atomic Habits by James Clear?
No.
It's so good. It's maybe my favorite book.
All right,
And
I'm writing it down.
he talks about like creating good habits and eliminating bad habits. That's basically the idea of the book. And he talks about how to eliminate bad habits. One of the ways to do that is to make it um, the opposite of to make it obvious. I guess to make it hidden. So I feel like this app is exactly what he's talking about. So if you
It
want to eliminate
prevents
bad
the
habits, just make it.
impulse. You don't have,
Yeah,
if you see it,
exactly.
you're probably going to go into it.
Totally, totally. So it's
Yeah.
just that extra layer that,
I should
yeah, that
read
helps.
that because I'm very routine. I love a good routine
Mm,
with
yep,
that, but
me too.
it's usually a positive, but it can be a negative if I get into a bad routine.
Absolutely.
Because once
Yep.
I'm in a routine, I tend to stick with it, good or bad.
Yep. It's so true. Habits are so powerful. And I think you'd love that book because it's all like I guess like science based, but it's so practical. I've read it. I don't read books more than once, and this one I've read a couple times.
All right,
So
I wrote
I
it down.
highly
I'm
recommend it.
gonna check it out because yeah,
Yeah.
that could be helpful for me. I'm sure my wife
Yeah.
would appreciate it if I could get out of some of my routines.
Oh yeah. We all could for sure. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Evan, open invitation. When you get the next big project or little project, come back and tell us about it. We'll bring you back on.
Hey, thanks so much, Michael. Appreciate it. It's been great chatting with you, man. Yeah, this has been really fun. So thanks
Now
for
it's
your
been
time and thanks
good.
for bringing me
I
on.
knew it would be. I was looking forward to this one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, me
And
too.
Leslie is your publicist. She does such a great job setting stuff
She's
up.
the best.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
this is my
really.
first time
I
working.
love working with Leslie. She does a great job.
Yeah, yeah, she is like on it. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's like my first time working the publicist, and I definitely, yeah, am so lucky to have her. She is like the queen.
Yeah, I know. She's been great to work with. I started reaching out to her. It's probably been 5 years ago now, but it's I know if she sends me somebody, I know they're good. So I'm like, okay,
Mm, mm,
that's pretty great.
that's
Well,
yeah,
Evan, thank you so much, and definitely let's do this again at some point.
absolutely. I'm down anytime.
Okay, hold on one second. Evan Rein. I'm excited to see Under the Bridge. I think it's going to be a really good crime drama. Canada, I think we were talking about it a little bit online. You know, if you're a fan of the podcast, we interview a lot of Canadian actors, and the content coming out of Canada is strong. It is really, really good. Under the Bridge, Hulu, April 17th, which is next Wednesday. Or if you're listening to this, it's probably like tonight or tomorrow. Once this comes out, it should be right around when Under the Bridge comes out. But let's support Evan, help him get that leg up. I told him off camera that I think, he should prepare himself, because once this one gets out there, he's going to be getting a lot more offers. He's I think this is going to be a really good show. And it's got Lily Gladstone, from Flowers of the Killer Moon. She's terrific. So I'm really looking forward to the show. So I hope you'll enjoy that as well. I think we hit everything that I wanted to. I didn't mention Heartland. He played Paul on Heartland. We've had several of that cast on. He was terrific on that show as well. But I think we hit all the rest. Nancy Drew, Upload, Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist. We hit all of those. If you're finding us for the first time, thank you for being here. So happy to have you join us. We typically put out about 4 episodes a week. We're pretty high volume. Today we put out episode 759. We've been doing this for a little over 5 years. You can find all those episodes, audio and video, on our website, meistercon.com. It'll also let you know if we're doing something in studio, if we're covering a convention, if we're going on location. Anything we got going on, be on the website, meistercon.com. Our YouTube channel is MeisterCon Pod. Please just subscribe. It really helps us out. It's free, but we use those subscription numbers to help us bring the great guests that we get. I would put our guest list up against any other podcast, any other talk show. I think our guests are fantastic. I just think we have the best guests. We're blessed in that way. So proud of that. If you're curious about the guests that we've had on the show, we've had about 800 so far. You can go to imdb.com, look up To Opinionated Podcast, and it'll list every episode for you. You can see everybody that's ever been on the show. And it also helps us just having that traffic on our page. And it's free as well. IMDb recently named us a top 100 podcast. 15 million or so podcasts, and it's growing daily. To be on anybody's top 100 list, let alone IMDb, just a great honor. We're very proud of that. So please check out our page. Thank you guys so much. Till next time. Bye, everybody. Hi, everybody. I'm once again here to ask for your support. It's been a big year for the To Opinionated podcast. Back in February, we got to live out a dream, moderate for William Shatner here in our hometown. In May, we passed 100,000 downloads on our YouTube channel, and we followed that up in June with 50,000 downloads on the audio side. We recently posted our 600th episode, which is pretty good volume for just a father and son operation. Not too many podcasts can keep that volume up. We've been doing this now for 4.5 years, 600 plus episodes. We recently hit 1,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel, which is a really big deal for us because we've always gotten the views, but have struggled to get people to subscribe. So that 1,000 was a big deal for us. And best of all, we were recently named one of the top podcasts on IMDb, which is the entertainment database. Those that are ahead of us, we came in at number 82. Those that are ahead of us are bigger companies like Disney, mostly Marvel, and Joe Rogan, that type of podcast. So for us, being just a small West Virginia father and son podcast, to be in the top 100 out of 15 million, it's a pretty big deal for us. So thank you for everything you've done for us so far. Got a couple little ways, though, that you can help us, and they're free, and they're really easy. If you haven't checked out our YouTube channel yet, please go to YouTube, It's under MeisterCon Pod. Just hit subscribe. It's free, doesn't cost you anything, really helps us a ton. And maybe even more important, if you could go to imdb.com, look up the Two Opinionated podcast, and just look around the page. Just having that traffic on the page really helps us out. So that's a couple easy ways that you can support us, even if you're not listening or watching all of the time. And we want you to listen and watch, because I think that our guest list, I would put up against anybody, any other show, podcast, anybody out there. I think our guest list holds up. So please check us out. You probably will find somebody that you like, or maybe somebody that you didn't know you liked, but kind of discovered them on there. There's tons of that. If you're into music, we have that too. If you like books, we've got authors on there. If you're more into what goes on behind the scenes in the entertainment world, we've got producers, directors, video artists, anything you can think of that happens behind the scenes, we've had them on the show. So definitely check us out. Thank you guys so much. Until next time. Bye, everybody.